Now, Dr. Dike, you've been sitting quietly while Comrade Savior gave analysis. So a lot of, was this a surprise to you, the ruling of the Supreme Court?
No, not at all. Good morning, Rivers people. Firstly, let me congratulate the Executive Governor of Rivers State, Sir Fubara. This victory didn't come to me as a surprise. Although, as a Nigerian and typical of what happens in this country, things naturally do not go the way they ought to go, especially in our judiciary. I'm very sorry to say it's my primary area, my primary jurisdiction, my primary area of assignment. But I must say that most times what comes out of judiciary makes some of us feel bad that we're in this profession. But we thank God that it has not gotten to the Supreme Court. We thank God that the Supreme Court is supreme, and the Supreme Court is total and final, and they are supreme because they are final. We thank God that they have upheld the wishes of Rivers people. The Rivers people came out, voted, and their vote counted, and Governor Fubara emerged the winner at the end of the day on the ballot, and followed through the electoral process, the judicial process, and today it's an affirmation, it's a seal on his victory on the field. So we thank God for today, and I commend the judiciary as well.
Now let's look a little bit at the judiciary, especially as you are one of, like you said, it's your primary constituency, and we look at the court rulings, the decisions that have been made with regards to cases in the 2023 election. Crowning it all, we're looking at the presidential election and the Supreme Court ruling. When you say that the Supreme Court has, there's a word you use, I'm trying to remember it now.
The Supreme Court is supreme, and they are total and final.
Fantastic. Now, when you look at the number of questionable rulings they have made with regards to election cases, some of them looking as if they contradict themselves from state to state, can we really say that the Supreme Court has been just? I'm asking this question to you because you are a lawyer. Can we really say that the Supreme Court has been just, that the Supreme Court has interpreted the law satisfactorily? Can we say that the Supreme Court has actually given credible rulings, especially with regards to the 2023 elections and the cases that spurned from it?
Okay, let me say clearly that I am one of those lawyers who don't discuss the judgments of court. I can only commend the process whichever way it goes. My Lord, the Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court, like I said, they are the final arbiter in our judicial jurisprudence. Now, one thing people must take to heart is that in every judgment, before you will even come to take a position, you must know the pleadings. Pleadings, I mean the processes.
Right.
I knew Toye's case was going to fall flat. Firstly, when a friend in his legal team told me that, look, we made a very fatal error by not asking that the court should either conduct a rerun, right? Conduct a rerun, given the fact that he was asking for, you're talking about disqualification of Fubara, and then either asking for a rerun or declaring him the governor. But they only asked that the court should declare him the governor. Now, this is only one thing out of too many other things they may have pleaded. Do you understand me? Now, if you don't have a proper hold on whatever they have sent to the court, because the Supreme Court will only look at the matter that they have placed before it and not what they saw on the field. I don't know if you understand me. For instance, a Supreme Court judge might be here, ballot A, and you have read it in his presence, and he happens to be the man to sit on it tomorrow. He is not going to sit on that appeal based on what he saw with his eyes on the field. He is going to judge based on what you have brought to him in the court. So matter begins and ends with your processes. Matter begins and ends with the pleadings. Do you understand me? So if you talk about judiciary making judgment rulings and orders and contradicting themselves, I don't agree completely, because whatever they churn out is what they have received, just like garbage in, garbage out. So for me, I think let's leave it at that. I don't criticize the Supreme Court, especially. I don't.
we don't know the reason why you don't seem to want to criticize.
No, I don't.
But let's look at this again. Seems like Fubara is officially, against all the odds, the executive governor of Rivers State.
Thank you for putting executive. He's been a governor all this while. He has been a governor, but today he has executive powers.
And that's what we want to talk about now. There are several issues that has become too much of an embarrassment for Rivers State. Like I said, this young man started battling I think, was it up to 3 months after elections? And the battle began. And these are people who should root him around him to say, we got your back. I'm talking about the State Assembly right now. With all the battles that Martin Amewule and the 25 others had embarked on. We saw the former governor a few weekends ago in Oba, saying that they have fulfilled their part of the
8 points agreement.
Their own part of the agreement. Yet, every day, even after he said that, we'll have issues and issues in the news. For a typical example is the process through which the judiciary a few days ago said that the AHIA-led assembly, that what they did nullify, the Federal High Court nullified. Of course, not another Federal High Court on the same day too. So now, legally speaking, with this executive power, he talked about having his red pen. He said they should come and take it. So he now have that authentic red pen that nobody can take away from him either way. So are we going to see the governor, are we going to see the states moving in the direction that it should be, legally speaking? What will be your estimate of what we are expecting going forward? Okay,
it is simple. Whether it is legally speaking, politically speaking, or morally speaking, I think and I know that the governor will assume the office of the governor. Do not forget that part of this problem stems from the fact that Fubara believes that he was voted in by Rivers people and he wants to be a man of his own. Not to jettison those who brought him to power, not to jettison his boss and his master that he still calls Oga, who is our own Oga too, we know. But there comes a time in a man's life that you take the bull by the horn. Now, when he fails, nobody will say somebody brought him to power. They say sin failed.
Right.
And the man will say, look, I need to do this thing for the betterment of Rivers people, if there's anyone like that, or for the good of Rivers people. And now, all this while, like you rightly said, I think the undercurrent started from what I think I know, started 2 months.
Into his administration.
1 or 2 months. In fact, 1 or 2 months into his administration. The undercurrent. And it kept happening, and and I just thank God for the kind of man we have. If we had the likes of what we had before, Amechi on one side who is very vocal, Mickey on one side who is very also vocal, this state would have been torn into shreds. God sees the end from the beginning. Nobody can ever say that they have heard him say A or B. That's why nobody can categorically say, well, we're only speculating. But some speculations could also be true. So, but the fact that this man started fighting this war, it started too early. But to the glory of God, I think that it is 65-70% solved. Now he can sit down and deal with local issues, with local people who do not want to advance. When I mean local issues with local people, I see the young men at River of Assembly who should ordinarily be the role model of every Rivers youth. I see them as people who have decided to be anti-people, to be anti-Rivers people. But I believe that while we know that we're in the democracy and the House is independent, I believe that the right reason will prevail, and these young men will understand that there is a need to work together with the executive and move Rivers State forward.